Can you believe it? It's the last day of April. I can't believe it. This year is flying by. Jerry, it's going so fast. And always towards the end of the month, usually we save it for a Friday. We have what we call our monthly Unscripted show here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. And that's where our listeners bring the topics to the table. Anything that's on their mind, their minds, their hearts, anything they're concerned about, a question they want to ask about the faith, anything like that, they bring it forth. We have a great discussion. It's a very active hour.
Yeah, we love having you kind of set the table with the topics that you want to talk about. Maybe you didn't get in on a previous program at some point recently and you'd like to weigh in on whatever that topic was. Suggest topics for future programs. We put so many shows on the calendar that you, the Take Two family, suggest, and they always end up being just big hit programs because, well, it's your show, and if you suggest something that you think would be good to talk about, it usually turns out to be the case. So get on the phone, talk about whatever you want today. The number is 833-288-EWTN, 833-288-3986.
Unscripted it is, so anything you want to share with us, now is the time to do it. But don't wait till the end of the hour because this hour moves by very quickly. Jerry gave you the number. I'll give it again because Ryan is standing by, ready, able, and willing to answer your call at 833-288-3986. Jeff Burson is monitoring social media, so if you have any comments there on YouTube and Facebook, we're waving to you. Hi, you guys. You guys are going strong. The Lunch Bunch, come on. We want to hear from you. Those that have lunch during Take Two, we want you to call in and share what's on your mind. And if you want to email us, it's take2@EWTN.com. Now, keep in mind that we've mentioned this a few times. It's a great situation to have, but we literally get flooded with emails and comments on a weekly basis. So we read everything. At this point in the journey of Take Two, we may not be able to respond to everyone, but we do appreciate all of your comments and emails. Did somebody just say,
Michael M. watching on YouTube says, now that is a hat. You have
you,
to explain
Michael.
the hat. For those of you not watching on Facebook or YouTube, jump on over there. Debbie's got this beautiful hat with a nice cross on it.
A lot of bling. There's a lot of bling on this hat. My husband and I were up north in Arizona, and it was one of those outdoor merchant fairs where they have those fairs and festivals. And we were walking around, Michael, and this beautiful, very bright, was picking up the light, like kind of ball cap with a cross on it, and it's all blinged out with like fake crystals, you know how it goes where they glue them on, and it was just picking up the light, and everybody was noticing it. But it was on the top rack, okay, outside. So I said to the lady under the tent, I said, "Can I have that hat?" She goes, "Why?" I said, "Because it's shining all over the place. I've got to have it." And she goes, "It's yours." And she says, and it's a one of a kind. It was made exclusively for that particular fair.
Wow.
So I bought it years ago.
It's getting noticed.
Thank you. And thank you, Michael, for the kind words. Thank you.
This is Unscripted on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. You are welcome to call with whatever it is that you want to talk about, something in the news. It could be a faith question, maybe something about the faith that you're not sure of, you're struggling with. Maybe you're part of a Bible study, you want to comment on that. Tell us about how your kids are doing, maybe going back to school, how you've gotten along during this coronavirus pandemic, which hopefully, God willing, it looks like we're kind of emerging from. So much we can talk about here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. But it's your show today, especially on Unscripted. The number is 833-288-3986. 833-288-3986.
If I knew this hat was going to get this much attention, this golf hat or baseball cap, I would have worn it every day for 6 years. I'm getting all these messages coming in and going, "That is the coolest hat. Can I get one?" The answer is I've never seen another one like it. And if you really notice, the cross is not, it's kind of slanted. Apparently the gal that does these hats designed it that way. She wanted the cross to be slightly tilted. It bothered me at first. The perfectionist. I kept moving my head sideways to kind of even it out. But
good conversation starter.
I'm tempted to wear it on a golf course, though. I'll see how that, what happens there. I don't know. I'm not sure. It might reflect too much light and the golfers will get irritated. But hey, you know what? Hey, an evangelization tool, right, Jerry? Like bumper
Absolutely.
stickers are for Catholic radio stations. This could be an evangelization tool. Speaking of Catholic radios, would you like to do a shout out for the final day, final hours for our friends at the Station of the Cross?
Well, yeah, a lot of stations having pledge drives this time of year. There may be some that we're not aware of. Debbie and I, though, are part of the hosting teams at the Station of the Cross this week. Today is the last day of their on-air appeal in the final hours, and we're counting on those of you who listen on the Station of the Cross to be super generous this hour during the Take Two with Jerry and Debbie hour. And other stations, if you're having your pledge drives, let us know. We'll give your listeners a shout out too, because it's so vital that we keep Catholic radio on the air with every passing day, Debbie. I think the significance of keeping Catholic radio on the air shows itself more and more.
Absolutely. So if your local listening area comes to you and says, please, we need the funds to get through the spring and the summer, please be generous. And don't forget EWTN. We're here for you as well. And so this is an exciting time for Catholic radio and television. And it's a time for all of us to show up together as a family. So we have 3 open phone lines. Where is the Take Two family? This is Unscripted. You guys love the show. You look forward to it each and every month. And we're at the end of April, so we're not going to do this again until the end of May. So we want to hear from you. The number to dial, and by the way, you don't have to be Catholic to call in. If you're listening, we count you as part of the family. 833-288-EWTN, 833-288-3986. I can hardly speak. I'm getting so many text messages saying they're paying so many compliments. I don't know what to say. I'm a bit embarrassed, but that's nice. It's a good embarrassment. Okay.
Well, maybe Take Two family, maybe you've got your own special apparel, a cap, a T-shirt, bumper sticker on your car that you use to evangelize. That would be a great way to get people's attention, certainly. We had one lady who called in a testimony at the Station of the Cross. She doesn't drive a car, but she put bumper stickers on her backpack.
That's right.
And she was saying people on the bus all the time are commenting on that. So we can talk about what you want to talk about today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. It's 833-288-3986. We'll come back and take your call, starting with Pat in Cleveland.
Wings is the weekly newsletter that's packed with program info, features, and updates of all that's going on at the Global Catholic Network. Just go to EWTN.com/wings. Fill out your name and email address, and you'll start getting your wings every week. When you get yours, send it to all your friends, and they can send it to their friends. And pretty soon, we're covering the whole world with the good news about EWTN. Wings, the weekly newsletter from EWTN, the Global Catholic Network.
I am Father Thomas Loya, and this week on Light of the East on EWTN, during this week of the Paschal season, Jesus Christ will encounter a Samaritan woman at an ancient well. What transpires between them in the heat of the day will provide insights into such weighty questions as how to save the world and, did you get vaccinated yet? On EWTN, Sundays at 11:30 a.m. Eastern.
He is only one of 4 popes honored as the Great.
Matthew Bunsen and the Doctors of the Church.
St. Leo I was pope at a time when Roman civilization was being overrun by barbarian armies. He stood as a light in the darkness and even saved the city of Rome from destruction by Attila and the Huns. Leo died in 461.
For more about the Doctors of the Church, visit doctorsofthechurch.com.
This is Unscripted, Take Two, where you bring the topics to the table and we discuss. And it's just a wonderful time for us to be together. We learn, we grow together as the Take Two way, which is just the way we do things for almost 6 years. June 15th will be our 6-year anniversary, and we're here because of you. You guys keep us going, and the Take Two family is just growing. Okay, so real quickly, Jerry, before we go to the phones, we almost have full phone lines. Real quickly, I just want to say, don't miss out on the latest political and cultural reporting and analysis on topics of interest to Catholics and people of faith. Get The World Over in your inbox every week. All you got to do is sign up today. This is The World Over email. It's so cool. All you got to do is sign up today. Visit EWTN.com and click on subscribe. So EWTN.com and click on subscribe, and you'll get The World Over email for the latest of everything that's going on. And you know it's the truth because it's done so well.
Okay, what else is done well is your phone calls, your takes, your topics, whatever you want to bring up on the program today. It's Unscripted on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. 833-288-3986 as promised, going right to the phones to Pat in Cleveland, listening, of course, on The Rock. Hello, Pat. Welcome.
Hi, Pat.
Hi, Jerry and Debbie. How are you?
Good. How are
Doing well.
you?
Doing well. I just wanted to give you an update on my brother. I called, I think it was March the 15th. Mm-hmm. My brother was taken to the emergency room at the hospital, and he had a stroke. He went blind, and his heart was shooting off blood clots. Well, I requested prayers then. Our prayers weren't answered the way we wanted them to be answered. But God really came through for us. He did pass away the following Saturday on the 20th. Mm-hmm. But he had such a peaceful death. I knew God was there. We knew he was there. And he took him, and my brother knew that he was dying because we talked about it. He even asked questions about it. He asked my daughter, because she's a nurse, asked her if he was dying, and she told him, and she asked him if he was okay with that, and he said yes, and that he was ready to meet Jesus. He had such a peaceful death. God didn't answer the way I wanted it to be, but he did answer it. It was so beautiful. I miss my brother terribly. But God really, it was amazing. His death was amazing. If a death, you don't know what to say, but it was so peaceful. Mm-hmm. And he was at peace. And I wanted to thank you for the prayers for him, and if you would continue praying for his soul.
Yeah. Well, remind us of his first name, Pat, please, will you?
It was John.
John, okay. Yeah, wow. You're right, though. You said it was a beautiful death, if there is such a thing, and I would say yes, there absolutely is such a thing, because none of us has a choice, but we're going to go out that same door, and how we go out that door is going to mean all the difference in the world. Being prepared, spiritually with God, and you couldn't ask for anything more, I don't think, Pat, at the time of death, than for John to have passed the way that he did. He was asking questions about it. God bless your daughter for being a nurse, and you for asking him, are you okay with it? Because at the time of death, a lot of people are not okay with it, and they fight and they struggle and they kick and they scream, and it isn't that overwhelming peace that it sounds like John had. So, Debbie, what do you think?
Oh my gosh, it was such peace. Prior to him passing, he was asking us questions just like he normal. He asked my daughter if this was the end, and she explained it to him. He knew that she did volunteer at hospice for like 15 years, and she dealt with dying. And she asked him if he was all right with that, and he said yes. And he was ready to meet Jesus, and it was so peaceful. It was amazing.
Well, and Pat, we can hear the pain in your heart because you miss your brother.
Pain.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, and take your time, Pat. Take your time in the grieving process. Okay, grieve as long as you must, and then when you get past that, you'll absolutely realize in a new way, Pat, that John is alive now more than ever. And that's a beautiful thing. And that's when people get out of the grief. Right now, you're in so much sadness because you miss your brother. And thank you for allowing us to pray for you and your family and John. We will continue to pray. But, the love you have in your heart, that never ends. That never ends. And so that's the beauty.
Will.
It never will.
I
That's
miss
right.
him so much. It's just hard to believe that he's not here.
Right. Well,
I'm grateful that he's not in the pain that he has been.
Right.
Because he had the lung cancer, and he was it just kept mounting and different things coming up with him. I think he was just tired.
Yeah.
I think he was just tired. But
yeah.
he had such a peaceful death. I just am so grateful to God for that.
Yeah, and it showed, I think, Pat, showed you, I've seen it too, and Debbie and all of us with our dying loved ones, how very gentle God is with us and how merciful and kind. Jesus passed through death himself, so he knows how difficult that can be, and so God is always with us, and we're so happy to get the update. We're sorry for the loss, Pat, but when I say happy, we're happy to hear about the peace that surrounded John and your entire family, and you'll be reunited again. That's what you have to look forward to, and these earthly memories to keep you going as well. So bless you, Pat. Thank you for calling from Cleveland, and we will pray for anything, anytime. So you can call us or email take2@EWTN.com. God bless you, Pat.
Okay, we're going to move on to Marion. Marion's in Albany, New York, listening on Pax et Bonum Radio. Did I say that right? I did.
Perfect.
From the Latin
studying
expert.
Your Latin.
Huh?
I'm doing studying your Latin, yeah.
There you go. Hi, Marion. Welcome.
Hi, how are you today?
Doing well.
Calling, good. I'm calling to highly recommend Paul Kanger's book, The Devil and Karl Marx. It really brings out, what we're dealing with today. And I'm appalled at the awful state of journalism. And I want to appeal especially to Catholic and Christian journalists to, show some fortitude here. Our local press here in Albany didn't even cover Senator Tim Scott's response to President Biden. I just saw one little paragraph, and it was so minuscule. And, I'm old enough to remember when the Soviet Union had 5-year plans where they controlled the economy, and they didn't fare very well economically. And it seems like there's a real takeover of our economy going on here, or they want to do that. And I'm for free enterprise. And it's just very concerning. And I know that popes back in the 1800s and even after that have written, encyclicals, I believe they were, about Marxism and the dangers of Marxism and, extreme socialism. So I would really like to appeal to people to speak out and, end this bias, because journalism just seems to be in an appalling state right now.
Yeah. Well, Marion, you're talking to somebody, me, who has been, and on May 18th, I'll be 41 years in the broadcasting, the media business, and not so much print, but so it really super offends me, because truth is truth, and what should be reported is reality, what is happening, not made up, not propaganda, not agendas and things like that. And the analogy that I sometimes make is, a journalist should be trained to report things that happen as they happen. Don't put your own slant on it. Just report it truthfully. And the analogy that I make is, good journalists are offended by that. Just like when the person goes to medical school, they should be taught all the things about human reproduction and so forth, and yet they go out and they taint the medical profession by becoming abortion doctors, so too do the journalists who they taint the whole journalism industry by their malfeasance. So I agree with you completely.
Yes. And I just, I know John Paul II was Pope John Paul, now St. John Paul, always said, be not afraid. And I guess we have to couple that with being wise as serpents and gentle as doves. But I really think, there's such a need for fortitude today.
Right. Oh, amen
Anyway.
to that, Marion. I just wanted to state real quickly, if I may, this is why recently I've said when we've been doing Take Two and other places that I've been interviewed on EWTN, this is why I said how precious and how much we need EWTN radio and television. It's not because I'm an EWTN host, we're EWTN hosts. That's not the reason. We need the truth. People are longing for the truth. People want the truth, and we're not getting it. We're not. No. Even when you, no. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. In fact, there was a publication that's local where I live, Marion, in Arizona. It was such a trusted source for many years. All of a sudden, it started publishing this garbage, and people were just saying, what is going on? And people said, is this really happening? And thank goodness we have EWTN that's going to keep us focused, keep us with the truth, and keep us on the path headed towards God, because that's the goal that we're here. We're not here for any other reason other than that. So, Marion, we agree with you, but we need heroes to step up. We need heroes to step up and people to speak the truth loudly and be out there and walk the walk and talk the talk, and hopefully we'll see the culture change a bit. What do you think?
Well, I hope so, and I want to say that when somebody calls you a racist, I don't mean you particularly, just say to them, why do you say that? Why, make them explain why they would call you that. And because I was a teacher, and I couldn't call a child a brat, I had to document. I had to say, when something happened, what the child did, what the response was. In other words, you just can't throw words out there.
Right.
I mean, they're trying to intimidate us, I think.
Right. Well, let me go one step. I agree with you. And you said you would ask them the question. What I would do in addition to that, or even right away, is that remember, when something is coming at us that is from the dark side, right? When something's coming at us that's from the dark side, and what is that? That is a lie. So quickly, when we call it out, that is a lie. You actually expose the demonic, the
demonic origin or nature,
right? The demonic origin. You expose it, and then it doesn't have as much power, Marion. The problem is when people are being called these horrible names, they immediately try to defend themselves. They try to get into a conversation and debate. Call it what it is. It is a lie, and it is from the author of lies, Satan himself, and get it away from the circumstances, because you don't want it in the middle of interactions with people, because that's why people are walking away, no longer friends. Family members aren't talking to each other. That is why, because the lie is still there.
Yes. Well, it's they use it like a verbal twitch. They say it without even thinking.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
They can't justify what they're saying, and you can do it in just a very gentle way, but just confronting in a gentle way. Why are you calling me that? That's a lie.
That's a lie. Well, and I'll give you an example real quickly, Marion, if you got another minute. Okay, real quickly. Sure. And Jerry, and I didn't even share this with Jerry. I had an interaction with someone, and they were they found out what I did, for my ministry work and a living, and they made a comment, and it was not nice, about what Christians and Catholics believe, and then they started on me. They said, "Oh, you are this then, because this is what you believe," and it came right at me. So you are this, right? And you can finish whatever it is. It wasn't nice. It was negative. Okay. And I quickly turned around and I said, that's a lie. I said, that's a lie. And they looked at me and they looked right at me and they didn't know what to say. And they go, what do you mean it's a lie? I said, that's a lie. What you just said is a lie. You don't know what the church teaches. You have no idea. And so what you just said is a lie. It shut down the conversation in 2 seconds. It was done. Because there's no way I'm going to receive something like that when I know that is coming from the dark one and the dark side. I will not do it. And what do you feel about that, Jerry? Exposing the demon right away.
Well, yeah, calling it out, calling it what it is, and that goes a great way toward disarming it. Like you said, that ended that conversation for you very, very quickly. Marion, thank you for the call. We've got others to get to here, and a short pause coming up. Marion in Albany, listening on Pax et Bonum Radio. Again, thanks, Marion. We definitely agree with you on the awful state of journalism today. Not across the board. Don't want to paint with too broad a brush, but a lot of, there's just too many who are not doing journalism the right way. It's our Unscripted program today. You get to talk about whatever is on your mind, on your heart. If you have a prayer request, a comment on a previous show, suggestion for a future show, a faith question, something you want to ask me and Debbie, 833-288-3986. Michael Birchfield is our producer. Jeff Burson on social media. Ryan Penny screening your calls.
The words of Blessed Carlo Acutis.
Sadness is looking at ourselves. Happiness is looking towards God.
And this.
The only thing we have to ask God for in prayer is the desire to be holy.
Why do we need to pray? We don't pray because God needs our prayers. We pray because we need God's grace. And every day, when I face the day, I realize I have no idea what I'm doing. And I need God to walk me through my day, step by step, giving me the grace, the counsel, the love, the encouragement that enables me to glorify Him in everything that I do and become the person He wants me to be. Prayer is my lifeline.
60 Seconds with Archbishop Fulton J. Sheen.
The Eucharist is the greatest of all the sacraments because it contains in a substantial way the person of Christ, who is the author of life. It is the one sacrament to which all of the other sacraments look. Imagine 6 arrows in a circle, all pointing to a center. The center is the Eucharist. The 6 arrows are the other sacraments. The Eucharist is the sun around which the other sacraments revolve as planets. All the other sacraments share in its power, and they perfect themselves in the celebration of the Eucharist. It is a sacrament that is so sublime that human reason could never guess at it. Divine love is far deeper than we know.
The people you know and trust are on EWTN.
Coming up Monday on More to Life, the life you were meant to live.
We'll look at how the theology of the body can help you live a more abundant life.
That's Monday on More to Life, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 Central on EWTN Radio.
Now back to Take 2 with Jerry and Debbie.
Take 2 with Jerry and Debbie. It is a Friday, the last day of the month of April. I agree with what Debbie said earlier. The year 2021 is just flying by. Maybe it feels that way because 2020 seemed like a slow crawl all through the mess of everything. But it's good to have you with us here on the program. We're getting many comments, people watching the video stream on YouTube and Facebook, so we wave to you again. We have a couple of phone lines open if you'd like to join us, talk about whatever you want here on Unscripted, 833-288-3986. And April, who was watching on YouTube, she may not still be watching because she says, I have a job interview in a couple hours. If everyone wants to say a quick prayer for me, I'm kind of nervous. I haven't interviewed in a long time. So, April, we just asked our Heavenly Father to be with you. And if it's the will of God that you get this job, we ask God and we thank Him in advance for His will being carried out in your life. And for all people who are looking for work, to change jobs, to get a better job, it's a very, very important part of our lives. And so, April, we are definitely praying for you and for all who are in the job market.
And April, if you're still listening or watching, ask your guardian angel to go with you on that interview, to have you say the right words, if that's God's will, to get the job, and also to just calm everything so that you feel good and confident. But be yourself. Be yourself. I did human resources for a couple years. I used to tell people as soon as they used to walk in the door, just be yourself. Don't try to be something that you're not. It's never cool.
Well, in April, I'm sure we don't have to tell you this, but we could. But there are a lot of people we would have to tell. Don't take your phone in with you. Don't be texting during a job interview. Can you believe it, Debbie?
I know.
You actually hear stories of people who answer their phone
Mm-hmm.
and are texting and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. It's interesting. But can I just circle back to Marion's call real quickly? Because I received.
Can I do something before you do that?
Yes, sir.
Our Jeff Burson, our social media manager, just reminded us, pray to St. Joseph, April. Tomorrow is the feast of St. Joseph the Worker. He's got his feast day on March 19th. But tomorrow is another Joseph feast, St. Joseph the Worker, and all about work and employment and jobs and things. So definitely, pray to St. Joseph. Sorry about that, Debbie. I just wanted to get that in there because Jeff reminded us of that.
No, that was great. Thank you, Jeff, so much for reminding us. Ryan is ready to answer your call. You have plenty of time. You can bring anything to the table. We can talk about the faith. We can talk about previous shows. You can suggest future topics, but fill up those phone lines. Let's go. You'll get right in. 833-288-3986. I received a text message and they said, Debbie, they had heard it said once by a priest that, you can, when somebody says something mean to you that is a lie, you can call it a lie and then say, that's a spirit of darkness and I'm rejecting that. Absolutely. Absolutely. The demons, remember, the fallen angels, they still retain some of their abilities and their powers. Not all of them, but some of them. Okay, they're very, very powerful, though. And they're always around trying to get us off the mark, trying to get us off course. Okay, so if you call it out and cast it away, in the sense of when you're having an interaction with words that are coming up that are hurtful and harmful to a person's character, and maybe even quietly just say the name of Jesus, okay, or make the sign of the cross, but do whatever it takes to protect yourself from letting that invade you and come into you. And whatever you do, don't accept something that's a lie. Don't accept it, because you're just feeding the demons, right, Jerry?
Well, absolutely. And I think as evil progresses and goes down its pernicious road, it's going to get worse and worse, the demonic influence that you're talking about. And so much of what's going on in our country right now is absolutely demonic in origin. And I'm not calling people demonic or possessed or anything, but we can be influenced by evil. The devils are always trying to influence us. And I think of that scene in The Passion of the Christ where Jesus is being scourged at the pillar. And you remember the Satan character kind of drifted back in the background behind those who were watching, right past our Blessed Mother, if I recall correctly. But just watching that with great, if the devil could have enjoyment or great glee, seeing Jesus be absolutely tortured and scourged. And I think that's the case in the world too, Debbie. We talk about at Mass, for example, how the angels are all around the altar. Well, there are demons in the world as well. And when we're doing evil, contributing to evil, or seeing it happen before our eyes, we can be very, very certain that there is a demonic presence, probably legions of demons egging on those who are committing the evil.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you can get in on this conversation. You can bring anything to the table right now. You still have plenty of time. Ryan has his hand on the handset of the phone, ready to pick it up. It'll only take a couple minutes. He'll put you on hold. You get to listen live. 833-288-3986. We did have a call drop, Jerry, that said, what's the best way to help those who have left the faith? Well, I mean, I'm just saying, okay, the book that we were able to put together with the Take Two listeners, Trustful Surrender, it was amazing what came out of that book, okay? And you can get that book on EWTNRC.com, Trustful Surrender, for your loved ones who have left the faith. Several stories, these are real life stories from the Take Two listeners. They credit Catholic radio and EWTN specifically for bringing their loved ones back. Okay, so that's pretty cool. That's how you can do it. Let just happen to, you know what I always say, if you're in the car with your brother or sister or child and they don't listen and they're not practicing the faith anymore, just have Catholic radio on the radio as you're driving. Say, oops, I have no idea what that is. What is that we're listening to? And see what happens. No, I'm teasing, but you know what I'm saying. Just keep the radio on at all times.
Yeah, and I know you'd agree with this. Don't push, don't be pushy, because that can drive somebody further away from God. Let them know through your, not so much your words, but your actions, that you are a man or a woman of faith, deep faith. You believe everything the church teaches. And then beyond that, just when you're around them, I would say just love them to death, love them so much that they come to trust you. They know that you're safe. They can come to you, especially when ultimately those seeds that are planted are going to start to grow, and they're going to have a little bit of curiosity and some questions, and you're going to be that safe place that they go to ask about, I'm feeling maybe called to say a prayer once in a while. How do I pray? Or could I go to church with you today or something? God is patient, and in the Bible it says his patience is directed toward our salvation. So let God do the heavy lifting, I guess is what we're saying.
Yeah, and it's all in God's timing. Beautiful. Beautifully said. Where you going to read Matthew's or which comment?
Actually, I got a text from Maria who said, in God's mercy, while taking communion to the hospital, I experienced the beauty of someone dying in front of my eyes. It was a piece of surrender. I still remember it. Wow. So thank you for that text message. And we're available via email as well, take2@EWTN.com. And on the YouTube and Facebook chats, you can get to us there. Mm-hmm. And we can go to Matthew. You want Matthew's question?
Sure. That sounds
on
great.
YouTube. Matthew is watching. Hello, Matthew. He says, hi, Debbie and Jerry. He put Debbie first.
Thanks,
so
Matthew.
You just won Debbie over, Matthew. He says, I have a question I've always wanted to ask you. Do you find it easier to pray in times of jubilation or despair? I'm guilty of the latter, but most of my friends are the opposite.
Interesting. Why don't you answer first?
Well, it's a timely question because in the the Jerry and Debbie Inspired by Faith book and fellowship club during the month of April, we were reading Dan Burke's book on spiritual discernment and spiritual warfare, discernment of spirits. And he talked so much in the book about times of consolation in our lives and times of what he would call desolation. So I'm going to take, Matthew, your two words. You used jubilation or despair, and I'm going to replace those with consolation or desolation. And consolation, he explains, is just when your heart is so in love with God, prayer comes easy to you. You want to go to Mass. You want to tell everybody about your relationship with God. Desolation is the opposite. It can be a loss of hope sometimes. It can be definitely an absence of the presence of God, like, God, where are you? So I think for me, Matthew, I have to say I'm probably better at devoting myself to my prayer time during the times of consolation, but I've learned through some dark times in my life, quite frankly, that you have to be faithful to that prayer anyway. You go into prayer, do your holy hour every day or every week or whatever, and whether you're feeling it or not, just be there. And during those times of desolation, there may not be any words that come to you, and that's okay. Just go there before the Blessed Sacrament and say, Jesus, it's me, Matthew. I know you're there. I don't feel you, but I'm here and you're there. And let's just get together and you work on my life and in my heart. And ultimately, thanks be to God, we usually come out of those times of desolation.
That was very, very well said. And I
you.
agree with you. And it goes along with the idea that you and I have always said to everyone on Take Two, and even when we do our life coaching as well, just keep doing the next good thing for yourself, Matthew. The next good thing, and prayer is that, okay? Because every like Saint Therese of Lisieux, every breath is a prayer. Everything. Just keep moving in that direction. Keep that discipline, that habit, that good habit of staying connected to God. Of course, it's probably going to be way easier, right? With certain personalities, right? So you feel closer to God at certain times and stuff. But if you constantly have an understanding of the connection, okay, it'll keep you on that beautiful path. Whether there's times, whether those wonderful times or those really down times, you'll just seem to be able to get through it better when you have that strong connection to God. I think of the parable, the vine and the branches. Remain in me. So stay close to Jesus. My mother used to always say that, stay close to Jesus. It's a great question.
Yeah, and in our book club chat yesterday, I posted this on the chat. Once a month, friends, we have a book and fellowship club chat at the end of the month about the book that we've been reading. And I posted this sort of juxtaposition on there yesterday. Remember, and I encourage you all to look up these passages. I don't have them memorized by heart, but look up the Transfiguration. When Jesus went up on the mountain to be transfigured, he took Peter, James, and John with him. They saw him in his glory, the resplendent glory. Peter says, we need to build 3 tents here. Jesus kind of probably thinking, well, you don't quite understand yet, Peter. But read also the passage about the Garden of Gethsemane. Who were the people that Jesus brought with him there? The same 3 that he took up on the mountain, Peter, James, and John. And he gave them that mountaintop experience so that when they were in the garden, in that desolation and darkness, they would have that sense of, we know who he is. We don't understand what's going on with him right now. He has said he's going to be put to death. How can the Messiah be put to death? They didn't understand a lot of things. But they had that mountaintop experience, so they were able to hold on maybe by a thread during the passion and death. Even though they fled, they still had to be in their minds, Debbie, thinking, this guy has to be who he said he was.
That's right. Wow, that was really good. That actually, I hope it helped you if you were listening to that answer to Matthew's question. Okay, let's move back to the phones. Joel is calling in from Ontario, listening on the Station of the Cross. Joel, you got to be pledging to the Station of the Cross. Okay, it's okay. Call take 2. How are you?
He did. He said he did. Fantastic.
Oh, you did? Okay, thank you.
I gave $120 today. Yeah.
Thank you, Joel.
You're welcome. Have you ever heard of the app or the software called VR Chat?
No,
I have not.
Social software, kind of like a phone, but 3D. Anyway, there's about 40,000 people that use it every weekend, okay, and about 100,000 total. Okay, and or 25. Anyway, so we need people to start using technology to evangelize. And VR Chat would be a great way to do that, because it's mostly the next thing that people are using to talk to each other. Okay, since people can't talk to each other face to face, okay, they're using VR and computers and stuff like that to pretend they're video game characters or comic book characters or different things like that. Okay, and it would be great if people would start evangelizing through means like that, because honestly, there's so many demonic influences on the internet and stuff like that. Okay, that like pornography and that stuff. Okay, that we need people to evangelize through the internet.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, oh yes, Joel. I used to be and on social media as well. You can add that anything that right. We need to be using this time wisely, because we are baptized Christians, and that's a part of our that's our baptismal call to go and preach and teach the gospel. Joel, first of all, I just wanted to say something real quickly. I was just teasing about you pledging, but that was so sweet that you did pledge. So thank you so much. But Joel, I want to share something though. Because you pledged to your local Catholic radio station, Joel, it shows that you care. Mm-hmm. It shows that you care about other souls, that you want other souls to get to heaven. You, Joel, are living out your baptismal call. So thank you. Thank you. And I agree with you. Any opportunity we have to show up strong as Catholic Christians and to get the message out there, Jesus's message is out there in any way, shape, or form, we should do it. Just like I did it with this, this silly hat I was going to say, but now it's turning into an evangelization hat, because everybody's going to YouTube saying, well, that's pretty cool that you have a cross hat on. Okay, but you know what? You're right, Joel. Any opportunity we have, we should do it. What do you think, Jerry?
Couldn't agree more. I think you're right, and definitely these things like VR chat, which is virtual reality chat, and so many online traps and hazards to fall into with our faith. So, any chance we get to just do a little tiny scattering of some seeds of evangelization, I think is a great idea. Thank you, Joel, for your call. Appreciate that so much, and thanks again for the pledge to the Station of the Cross, and everybody else. When your station or network or EWTN asks you for prayers and financial help, they really mean it, and we need it now more than ever. And a new show, by the way, you may have seen the premiere of the show on EWTN, but it's going to be airing Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. It's Mother Angelica Answering the Call. You get the timeless words of wisdom from EWTN foundress Mother Angelica, the best of Mother Angelica's advice to listeners. It's hosted by Father Joseph Mary Wolfe and Doug Keck. That's Mother Angelica Answering the Call, Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on many of these same EWTN stations.
Can you go back real quickly before we go to the phones to one of the, I just lost it, one of our YouTube, do you see it? I just lost it. I believe they're becoming Catholic.
Yeah.
Can you share that, please?
Yeah, it's LIS. I presume it's Liz. Anyway, Liz said, good afternoon, everyone. I am a Protestant, but I am going to become Catholic. One of the harder aspects for me is getting to know the Virgin Mary. I would like to know how I can draw closer to her.
May I please answer that, please?
You may.
Very simply. Here's how you do it. We're coming up on the month of May, starting tomorrow. It's the month of Mary. All you have to do is ask the Blessed Mother. Ask our spiritual mother, because she loves you so very, very much. Just say, take my hand. Take my hand. That's all you got to do. And I will share with you that when you start that, it will start you on the road to wanting to learn and pray more, like the Rosary, wanting to learn more of the Marian apparitions. And before you know it, you are very drawn in and to a deeper understanding and a love for your spiritual mother, the Blessed Mother. It's that simple. Take my hand, Mary, and she will. She will. She is a great, great mom.
Mm-hmm. All right, Liz, I hope that is helpful. Another thing you might want to do is take a look at the Gospel of John, chapter 2. It's the wedding feast at Cana. I love the starting verses of that. It says, on the third day, there was a marriage at Cana in Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus also was invited to the marriage with his disciples. And that's always just struck me as, it's John, I think, is one of his ways of emphasizing the importance of Mary, because he says the mother of Jesus was there, and then he goes, oh, yeah, and Jesus was also invited. The emphasis on it is first on his mother being there. But what does Mary say to the servants? She says, do whatever he tells you. So, Liz, I would just suggest to you, ask Jesus what you should do, because Mary said, do whatever he tells you. Jesus would want you to know his mother very intimately and personally. And so you can ask Jesus. Well, sometimes we go to Mary and say, Mary, help me to know your son better. Well, now you can go to Jesus, the one that you already believe in as a Protestant Christian, and say, Jesus, if all this stuff about your mother, the Blessed Virgin Mary, is real, please show it to me. He will answer that hands down. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I love that. Beautiful. And Lawrence, real quickly, Jerry, because this is probably for you. Lawrence couldn't call in yesterday, but his first job was a paper boy at 5 years old. Oh, he beat you because you did it later. 5 years
mine
old.
Was about 10 or something like that.
Yeah, but that's young. Can get 5 years. Wow, Lawrence, you must be strong to carry all those papers.
I presume he had some help from a parent, probably, or somebody.
No, he didn't say anybody else. He said a paper boy at 5 years. He didn't say anyone was helping him. Okay, Miriam's up next in Pennsylvania. Alexa is the way you're listening. First time caller. Hi, Miriam. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you so much for answering and for your show.
Thank you. So what would you like to share?
Yeah, so there was something that really struck me when you were talking about the family members and how you can be like a witness to them, even just like playing radio and, the danger of really pushing people away. And so I have a sister who is 8 years younger than me, and so she doesn't believe anymore. But my husband and I do, and we practice. And she said that my husband is a trigger for her. And I don't know, I'm up with the current psych lingo, and I know that there's a lot of, I know there is trauma. I know it exists, but I just don't know how to approach that when she says my husband is a trigger for her because he defends the faith. So, any advice for that?
Well, I mean, based on what you shared, Miriam, you can hear the love in your heart that you have for your sister. Okay. And that's beautiful. Stay close to your sister as sisters in that sense. But here's what you maybe you want to be praying about and thinking about doing, you and your husband. Maybe lessen the defending of the faith and just live out the faith joyfully. Just let it because what happens is people want what they know others have, okay? What they truly have, not what they just think they have, but what they have. And it spills over. So if you joyfully, you and your husband, live out your faith, okay, that will be a witness enough for your sister when she's ready to look again at the faith, okay? If you're, and I understand why your husband's doing what he's doing, defending the faith. I would as well. It's very hard to know when to say something and when to pull back, okay? But just love her, as a sister and say, listen, we don't want to be any triggers. We don't want to do anything. We just want to love you. That's all we want to do because Christ loves us and we love you. And just love, but it doesn't mean you accept things that are wrong and difficult and detrimental and could chip away at your own faith. You don't accept things like that, but I'm talking about loving the person in your beautiful baby sister. Okay. And you'll see it may take time. And that's the problem all of us have. We want our family members to come back right away because we love them so much and we know the truth. Sometimes it takes that precious time. God has to work. And I would also ask Saint Therese of Lisieux to help you because she was so perfect, Miriam, in not getting attached to any outcomes. She just said, she gave it all to God. She trusted God and she opened the door, if you will, for God to work his miracles. Okay. And he did. And that's how St. Therese of Lisieux, and she's very active, Miriam. So I don't know if she's one of your go-to saints, but if she's not, I would encourage you to get to know her. Is she?
Actually, that's my middle name. So
There you go.
That's really very funny.
Yeah, well, that's Saint Therese of Lisieux. She's got a great sense of humor. So let me please tap her ministry work because she's doing great ministry work, and she will take care of your baby sister. She sees how much you love your baby sister, really. So I don't know if anything I said helped her. I know Jerry may want to add something, but do you feel a little bit better about this?
I think I feel better having that name, like having someone to go to.
Good.
I mean, loving her, yes. I have, every time I talk to her, I try to tell her that. And, I try to really extend a hand to her. But I think having that name is very helpful.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, and trust in those heavenly prayers, Miriam. You've got your first name, too, of course, is the Hebrew version of Mary. So we're going to be praying for your sister and Kimberly from Cranston, Rhode Island. We are coming up on the closing music of the show. But Kimberly, please do us a favor. Email us the names of the family members who have passed since in 2018. That's what you wanted to share on the air. We just aren't going to have to. We'd rush you so fast that it wouldn't be doing you justice. But please definitely do. Email us, take2@EWTN.com, because we have that prayer book that we list the living and deceased members of our Take Two family. So we'll hope to hear from you.
What another great Unscripted. We're closing out April, going into May, the month of Mary. And when our first broadcast on Monday will be Whom or What Are You Praying For? Another active show, Jerry.
Indeed. So we hope you have a beautiful and blessed weekend. Feast of St. Joseph the Worker tomorrow, the start of the month of Mary in May. So let us turn to those two great saints and to our Lord Jesus Christ, our Savior and our Redeemer. Have a beautiful and blessed weekend. And until Monday, we want to always remind you, St. Joseph, pray for us. God bless.
Dr. Agerendi, making you parenting more fit, making your kids have less fits, and making your husband wear clothes that fit. The doctor is in. Next.
This is Conversations with Consequences, where we delve deeper into issues affecting our church, our country, and our core, the family.
As Catholics, we need to be informed, aware, and able to talk through some of the tough topics that we're facing in our culture and in our world. Conversations with Consequences gives us the tools to do so.
It's not enough to pray. We have to be a light for the world.
Conversation